DBS Evening News. A media launch and a cultural parade will mark the official opening of Dominica's 46th anniversary of independence this weekend. In news from the region, the Prime Minister of Canada calls on world leaders to come together in support of Haiti. And news from the international scene, the U.S. sending additional troops to the Middle East as Israel ramps up attacks across Lebanon. Details of the evening news right after this.
What's on your back-to-school checklist? Fast, reliable internet, a free Chromebook, a smartphone. With Flow, you can check everything off your list. Sign up for broadband and get 25% off Turbo plus 6 months or free Chromebook while stocks last. And if you need a new phone, our postpaid bundles offer smartphones for just $4. Make back to school easy with Flow. Visit discoverflow.co for details.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
One easy loan.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
To upgrade my phone and even my home with one simple loan.
More money.
To have your wedding, to go traveling, to do anything.
More money.
No security. Speed the delivery, just check NBT. Apply anytime. In branch or line, it's more money time.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
No collateral.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
Speed the delivery.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
Just check NBT.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
DBS News.
Welcome back to the DBS Evening News. A media launch and a cultural parade set for this weekend will mark the official opening of Dominica's 46th anniversary of independence. This year's independence celebration will run from Friday, September 27 to the 4th of November under the theme Pays nous, cadeau nous.
The opening of Independence 2024 will be broken up into two parts. We have the official opening ceremony on Friday, the 27th of September at 10 a.m. People can tune in on live streams or radio broadcasts for that. At that point, we will deal with the formalities, the speeches, and let everybody know what is to come. On Saturday, the 28th, we have the first ever opening of Independence Parade. The buzz on the ground is very high, so we expect large numbers in the city on Saturday. The parade will run from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. and it will depict all the features of the upcoming independence season. So you will see a float representing Flag Day. The Cardinals will be present with their tent mass. A royalty floats with our pageant contestants and winners. True Pool will be doing the classic independence songs. The Big Bottom ladies decked out in their Madras wear. Stilt walkers in Madras as well. School students in their national wear. We're going to amplify a Jinping band. Same thing applies to a drumming group and a steel pan group, so they don't get drowned out by the other sound systems. The World Creole Music Festival, TV Large and Independence Gopal will also feature on floats with ticket specials and so on. There will also be a bushrum float, signal band and much more. We assemble in Pottersville on what used to be the basketball court outside the St. Alphonsus Catholic Church and head to town via Goodwill Road. We will then cross the Isilo Black Bridge and the route will be Independence Street, King George V Street, Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard, and then we go to the market and the riverbank to end at the promenade. And we end in at the promenade at 7 p.m. where we will have a fireworks display. And we encourage everyone to patronize the establishments at the promenade after the parade. So we welcome the entire country to Roseau on Saturday.
And that's the Acting Chief Cultural Officer, Erlson Matthew. The independence celebration to open in a massive way this weekend. Let's head to the High Court now. The trial of Geno Joseph of Roseau for causing death by dangerous driving is underway at the High Court in Roseau. Joseph was charged following the death of Police Constable Philsbert Felix Williams on the E.O. Libler Highway near the Pottersville Savannah on December 26, 2020. The accused was alleged to have been driving a red Suzuki car while the deceased was in control of a bike. The two collided, leaving the officer dead. The accused pleaded not guilty. Early in the trial today, the state brought in Dr. Curtis Brian St. John, who received the body of the deceased at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital on December 26, 2020. Among prosecution witnesses on the opening day of the trial were the deceased sister Davina Andrew of Dublin and former police officer Caleb Challenger, who was in control of a police vehicle and saw the deceased fall from the bike. Director of Public Prosecutions Sherma Dalrymple leads the state's case, while the accused is represented by David Bruni. A 6-woman, 3-man jury is hearing the trial presided over by Justice Colin Williams. In other news from the High Court, the state has filed a notice of discontinuance in a matter of forgery against Shannon Charles. Meanwhile, the sentencing hearing for the accused Rotley Common is set for the 9th of October. Common pleaded guilty with manslaughter over the death of Cheyenne John in Salisbury in 2018. The two were involved in a quarrel at Salisbury. The deceased was beaten with a stick for about 30 minutes and died the following day. Common pleaded guilty with manslaughter and will be sentenced on the 9th of October. He is represented by David Bruni. Retired Justice of Appeal, His Lordship Davidson Kelvin Baptiste, has been engaged as a third judge to deal specifically with civil matters at the High Court in Roseau. His Lordship Baptiste, a Dominican national, recently served as acting judge of the Supreme Court of the Turks and Caicos Islands after his retirement as a Justice of Appeal. Minister for National Security and Legal Affairs, Rayburn Blackmore, made the announcement during a press conference earlier today.
We're pleased this morning. I'm very happy because there has been an ongoing discussion between the government, the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, and the government at the highest level, also the Prime Minister, engaging the former Chief Justice on a need for a third judge. And we're happy that with the new acting Chief Justice that we have been able to actually have that reality today and going forward. We're happy that we have our own son of the soil, Mr. Baptiste, Davidson Baptiste, a former appeal judge in the Caribbean region. Of course, a proud Dominican, a man of the soil, a great Dominican. And we're happy to have him here. And we're happy, of course, we can ensure that people with issues, with grievances, especially as it relates to civil matters, can have their matters resolved in quick dispatch. Now, we have ensured that this third court building, to ensure that it's ready in terms of the logistics, the proper recording system, the proper electronics, appliances, etc., and equipment, the staffing, we have been able to ensure that the judge is ready to go. So as we speak, the judge is ready to go in terms of the logistics required and all the other enabling environment to ensure that this third judge that we are so happy to have for us today can function. So as we speak, we have one judge to deal with criminal matters and we have 2 judges to deal with civil matters.
And that's the Minister for National Security, Rayburn Blackmore. Mr. Blackmore says the matter of having night sittings at the Magistrates Court will be looked at moving forward.
At the Magistrate Court level, we have most of the matters, as from a criminal standpoint, been heard. So you deal with both matters that are supposed to be sent to the High Court, we call them PIs, and then we have a paper committal arrangement now, but those matters must go before the Magistrate Court before they can move to the High Court. And then we have a number, most of our issues in terms of offenses from a criminal standpoint, actually are surrounding matters which have to be disposed by a magistrate court. So there's a tremendous level of work on that lower court. So what we have done, we have been able to engage one additional magistrate who is now posted in Portsmouth. We are advertising for 2 additional magistrates. And we believe that we should move to a point to have night courts, especially as it relates to civil matters. People in the business community, sometimes they may be engaged during the working hours. And maybe it's better to maybe start have a court sitting from 6 and beyond. That is something that we will be actually going forward. We'll be putting in place. And then the whole issue has to do from the administrative standpoint to ensure that we have the capacity to ensure that magistrates can be properly assigned and dates for cases can be properly dealt with. And all that is being done with the view of dealing with the issue of backlogs, etc.
And that's the Minister for National Security and Legal Affairs, Rayburn Blackmore. Principal of the Dominica Community High School, Deborah Joseph, says she's proud to be leading the 50-year-old institution. Joseph says The history behind the formation of the school continues to live on. The Dominica Community High School began its week of activities in commemoration of its 50th anniversary with a church service at the Deliverance Baptist Church Sunday.
Well, I am delighted. I am very happy. I feel proud that we have gotten to that point. Thinking about how the school began as a set of concerned citizens who felt that the students who had the ability to attend a high school and to be able to gain a secondary education, there wasn't space for them at the high schools that we had, and so they felt that they needed to do something to get those students to attain the secondary education. So I am grateful, first of all, that these concerned citizens got together and did something about their concern that is in the creation of the Dominica Community High School. And so this year we celebrate 50 years of existence, and we are very proud of that.
And that's the principal of the Dominica Community High School, Deborah Joseph. On the feature segment of the DBS Evening News, we hear the story of an ordinary Dominican who has impacted Dominica in one way or the other. Christy Richards Graham was a teacher at the St. Luke's Primary for 42 years. She was recognized by the Dominica Association of Teachers this year. Christy Richards Graham, our feature on the DBS Evening News.
Well, for me, teaching just came naturally. It's what I always wanted to do. You know, some people fall into a job because they're looking for a salary. For me, it was what I wanted to do. And I was part of the school's first, almost what we have like the NEP program. I was paid by the school per hour. When I started, I was under the mentorship of Sister Elodie. And for me, it just cemented that this is what I want to do. Some of my first students in that class with Sister Elodie were Mr. Ian Pinard, Mr. De Gallery, who is now principal at the Sophia Primary. So these were my first students. And it just cemented, this is what I want to do. And I dove into it. 42 years later, this is where I'm at. Well, as a teacher, you want to see your children do well. And sometimes we think doing well is getting a scholarship. That's not what it was for me. Doing well for me for a child is taking that child, whether it is because they're missing a little bit of love, they're missing some attention, they need just that basic care, just to give them a positive image of themselves. That for me cemented it. And of course, if they did well academically, that's the icing on the cake, you know, but to see your children grow from a child who didn't know something, who wasn't sure, who had no confidence, and then they can stand up and face a crowd. They can act, they can sing, they can dance, they can do mathematics, they can do whatever it is. That, as the teacher, is what you're looking for.
What's your own view of the profession as it is today in Dominica?
Well, personally, I think teachers are not recognized for the role that we play. There's nothing you do in life that didn't have the influence of a teacher. And like if somebody gave me a gift that says, the influence of a great teacher can never be erased. The influence of any teacher cannot be erased. So we're hoping that all teachers would be great. But to me, we're not getting that kind of recognition from parents, even from students themselves, and more so from the powers that be. I think it's not just about finance. Maybe we cannot get the biggest salary in the world, but recognize the work that we do. And instead of always saying, teachers need to do this and teachers need to do that, talk about teachers have done this, teachers have done that. This is what teachers are doing. And maybe people will want to stay in the service and feel appreciated. In any profession that you are in, you feel appreciated, you're going to want to stay.
Former St. Luke's Primary School teacher Christy Richards Graham on the feature segment of the DBS Evening News. The news continues right after this.
What's on your back-to-school checklist? Fast, reliable internet, a free Chromebook, a smartphone. With Flow, you can check everything off your list. Sign up for broadband and get 25% off Turbo plus 6 months or free Chromebook while stocks last. And if you need a new phone, our postpaid bundles offer smartphones for just $4. Make back to school easy with Flow. Visit discoverflow.co for details.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
One easy loan.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
To upgrade my phone and even my home with one simple loan.
More money.
To have your wedding, to go traveling, to do anything.
More money.
No security. Speedy delivery, just check NBT. Apply anytime. In branch online, it's more money time.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
No collateral.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
Speedy delivery.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
Just check NBT.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
DBS News.
The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, has turned his focus to the ongoing crisis in Haiti as he spoke with world leaders today ahead of the 78th meeting of the United Nations General Assembly. The Canadian Prime Minister met with the Caribbean country's acting Prime Minister, Gary Conille, this morning before delivering remarks at a high-level meeting for a UN advisory group for Haiti. Trudeau told other world leaders at the high-level advisory group for Haiti they must come together with a serious plan to address the humanitarian needs in the country first and to ensure there is support for a political transition. He called on the international community to support the transitional government while cautioning that the status quo cannot continue. Finally, this evening, the U.S. has announced it is sending a smaller number of additional forces to the Middle East as Israel dramatically increased airstrikes across Lebanon. The U.S. has about 40,000 troops stationed in the region. Israeli warplanes pounded Lebanon throughout the day, striking across the south and into the north. Lebanese authorities said at least 356 people, including 21 children, had been killed and 1,246 others injured in the attacks. It is 18 minutes after 6 o'clock. That's news. Gavin Richards comes up shortly with the sports report.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Well, good evening. I'm Gavin Richards with the DBS Evening Sports Report. Let's bowl off with some cricket news. As the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board of Control and CWI Vice President Azim Basarath says he's looking forward to returning to his duties for the good of West Indies cricket. Basarath retained his position as Cricket West Indies Vice President following a special meeting of the board of the CWI Board of Directors on the weekend. Basarath, who was elected in 2023, had his position challenged by the Guyana Cricket Board this year. Guyana challenged the elections in the courts on the basis that they had withdrawn their nomination for Basarath before the 2023 elections. The matter went back to the polls, and Basarath, who was the sole candidate nominated by the Jamaica Cricket Association and the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, was duly elected on the weekend. Well, let's bring you some netball news now, as the national netball team will be looking to bounce back following their defeat to St. Vincent in the opening round of the ECCB International Netball Series when they take on Montserrat tonight in St. Lucia. Well, that match was scheduled to tip off at 6:30, but there's still an ongoing game, so it looks like it'll start a little closer to 7 o'clock. Well, Dominica went down to St. Vincent in their opening match of the tournament 71-32 last night. The Dominica captain Gail Serafin says that the team didn't stick to the plan.
No, absolutely not. We did not follow our game plan. It's like everybody went out there with their own mission instead of what we went out there as a team, and that is the result of the game.
What challenges did you face tonight?
Well, definitely our passing. We definitely need to work on our passing and our centre pass. We throw away too many centre passes.
So what do you have to say about the final quarter? Because I know you guys were really struggling out there, but you came out a little bit strong, a little bit. But what do you have to say about it?
Well, the final quarter in this game was definitely our best quarter. We settled down. We think before we pass, so we saw some improvement in our game. So we just need to build on that and go forward.
Obviously, your next matchup, what do you think about your opponents?
Well, our next matchup is Montserrat, but we still cannot take no team for granted. So we need to just go out there and put what we went into practice, put it all out on the court.
And that's the Dominica captain, Galen Serafin. Well, in some results today, the defending champions, Grenada, they got past the Cayman Islands 47-35. As we speak right now, St. Vincent and the Grenadines are taking on Anguilla. That game is in the fourth quarter, and it's St. Vincent with a very big lead. They're leading 75-6 with about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Dominica will play Montserrat immediately following the conclusion of that game between St. Vincent and Anguilla. And the other match tonight will see the host country, St. Lucia, taking on Antigua. That game will get underway at about 8 o'clock. Well, let's bring you some more sports this evening as Garrison and One Port Zone Rouge are among the teams through to the next round of the ACS Tarish United Small Goal Knockout League. League coordinator James Gervais has the details.
Garrison won 1-0 over the Paper T Ballers with an early goal coming from Darren Wade. On Saturday 20th September, saw Strikers Tarish Pit versus Dewitt Center. That game played to a 1-1 draw. Goal coming from Mario Douglas for the Strikers team and Sherwin Lewis for the Dewitt Center team. Strikers won on a sudden death penalty kickoff. On Saturday, saw One Port Zone Rouge taking on HSL. That game also played to a 1-1 draw, with the goals coming from Zone Rouge, from Master P, and from HSL, Ridge Blaze. Zone Rouge went on to win the penalty shootout 4-2. On Sunday, saw a matchup with Black Cotton versus Boissa, where Black Cotton came out victorious with a 90th minute goal from Christian Prosper. Semi-final action will start on Tuesday 24th September with One Port Zone Rouge taking on Strikers Tarish Pit, and on Wednesday Black Cotton will be taking on Garrison. Both matches will begin at 7 p.m.
And that's League Coordinator James Gervais. Still with some football news, Central Cooperative Credit Union Dubla FC will meet Valvoline United in the finals of the 2024 DFA's President's Cup. Well, this after both teams secured wins in their respective semi-final matches on the weekend. Valvoline United, they got past Satico Southeast, winning that game 6-1. We had Michael Gasper and Kian Thomas getting 2 goals each, while in the other semi-final match, Central Cooperative Credit Union Dubla FC, they defeated Promex Harlem United 3-0, with Travis Joseph getting 2 goals and Ode Laville also scoring for Dubla. Well, Central Cooperative Credit Union FC captain, that's Abriel Thomas, he said it was a good win for the team last night.
Well, it was a good game. I thought that my team applied themselves very good. It just come to preparation on the field. We just had to go and show that we won the game on the field, but really and truly won the game in practice.
Harlem were the only team to have beaten you guys so far in the competition. How much did that weigh in on tonight's game?
Well, it doesn't matter, to be honest, because all teams ready to lose. It doesn't matter the opponent you come against. Yes, we play them back to back, and obviously they have a little psychology and they could beat us, but we just know we could have done better from the last game, so we just apply ourselves correctly in this game and took our chances and defend properly.
All right, dominated possession, dominated everything. Overall, happy with the outcome in terms of how the guys played, or do you think you could have still maybe, done a little better?
Well, obviously there's room for improvement in every game you play, no matter how you take it. Yes, we're supposed to at least keep the ball a little better in terms of playing possession in the opponent's half. We'll just try and apply that in the next game. But that is the way we try to play and apply ourselves so we could set the standard for Dominica football.
All right, coming up against Way United next in the finals. This is going to be a big game.
Well, right now it's two best teams in Dominica based on form. So obviously every game is a big game. We just have to take it game by game and we just have to approach them just like we approach Harlem.
And that was the Dubla captain, Brielle Thomas. Well, let's head into news from the Premier League last weekend as Belfast Estate Mahu Soccer Strikers, they defeated Petro Caribbean Point Michel. Well, Mahu took that game 5-1 with Jamo Talbot and Addison Dennis getting 2 goals each from Mahu. In some other results from the Premier League, Marcellus Bonney got the late winner as Tranquility Beach Middleham United defeated Bath Estate 3-2. And of course, that loss will deal Bath Estate a major blow as they look to avoid the relegation battle. They're currently sitting in last place in 10th position. Well, some more football results from the weekend. Do-It Centre, Mighty Avengers, they're through to the quarterfinals of the DFA's Division 1 League. They advanced for a 3-1 win over Kensborough in the round of 16. There was also a win for DSFC as they defeated Northside FC to advance to the quarterfinals as well. Let's head to some track and field news as Kervin Latham of the Pioneers Athletics Club opened up the 2024-2025 athletics season with a statement win in the first road race of the season yesterday. Latham made light work of the competition, winning Sunday's 5-kilometer run at Portsmouth. The race took the runners from the American Canadian School of Medicine to Bell Hall, and Latham completed the race in a time of 18 minutes, 29.09 seconds.
Well, the race was all right. I make my plan in the morning. I stick to it. I'm not going to lie, it was difficult, but when you have the Lord with you, always put the Father first, and He will help you run.
You said that it was difficult. What was the most difficult part about the race?
The most difficult part of the race were my opponents. I'm going to lie, but shout out to Sean Vidal and shout out to Johnny Moses. Them boys there, don't mess with them, they're really tough.
All right, so they really pushed you, but overall satisfied with the way that you competed the race?
I'm not really satisfied with the way I competed, but I'm planning to train better, stick to my plan, and let's do it.
All right, so this is the first race of the season. What are some of the things that you're going to be doing, over the course of the year?
Over the course of the year, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to stick to my books, stick to my athletics, have it in 50-50, and then just keep motivating myself every day.
All right, and where do you want to see yourself this year? I mean, in terms of competing on the big events?
I want to see myself this year as a pro athlete. I want to train hard so I can make myself happy, make my parents happy, and make my father God happy.
And that was Kervin Latham of the Pioneers Athletics Club. Jaloni Moses of the Westmore Rangers was second in a time of 19 minutes, 10 seconds. Sean Vidal was in third in a time of 20 minutes and 11 seconds. Meantime, in the women's division, Luan Gabriel was the first across the line in a time of 26 minutes and 42 seconds. Of course, we remember Luan Gabriel as having represented Dominica at the Olympic Games a few years ago. Also, there were over 100 runners who took part in yesterday's opening road race, which also included the 3-kilometer, 2-kilometer, and the 1-kilometer events. And of course, they had races in the various age group categories. In the interest of time, we can't name all of the winners, but we do congratulate all of those who took part yesterday and emerged as winners in their respective events. Well, the next road race will take place on the 6th of October, and that's in Grand Bay. Let's go back to some cricket news now as the Trinbago Knight Riders captain, Karen Pollard, says he's happy with the effort as his team picked up a win over the St. Kitts Patriots as they continue with their push to get into the top position in the Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League. Well, the Knight Riders, they got past the Patriots by 7 wickets last night, chasing 194 to win. Nicholas Puran made the Patriots pay for dropping him 4 times as he smashed 93 not out of 43 balls to guide the Knight Riders to the victory.
Obviously, conditions was very, very good for batting, as you can see, and they scoring 190 odd. Obviously, tonight the guys really came out trumps.
Yeah, I mean, it was a record chase for the CPL. Did it play better than you thought maybe at the toss?
No, obviously we practiced here last night and we saw how the practice wicket plays, the ball was coming onto the bat, and it just goes to show when you give the batters batting for any sort of wickets, they tend to express themselves a bit more. But having said that, I still believe in when the wicket is challenging, that's where the skill set of the individuals need to come out. So when you get a good wicket, you capitalize on it, and when it's not so great, you try to be smart and get a reasonable total. So tonight, good wicket, there's a lot of dew. The ball came onto the bat. So winning the toss, obviously, batting second is something that, we're going to do once we won the toss.
A bit of brilliance bringing Jason Roy back into the side tonight. Great to see him in the runs. How happy does that make you, especially now at this business end?
Very, very happy. Obviously, when you look at the Queen's Park Oval track and the 3 games before that, he hadn't really produced much, for us. I think we would have done him more harm than good if we had played him in the Oval. And again, that's the nature of having experienced guys and individuals who understand the dynamics and where the team want to go. So it was a simple conversation. And we always knew that coming down to Brownlow was going to be a better wicket, give him the opportunity so he can get that confidence going into the back end, because obviously, being one of our overseas professionals, we expect him to come and do well.
And that's the Trinbago Knight Riders captain, Karen Pollard. Well, let's take a look at the points table as we head into the round of matches this week. The St. Lucia Kings, they're on top of the points table with 12 points with 6 wins and 2 losses, while the Guyana Amazon Warriors, the Barbados Royals and the Trinbago Knight Riders are all tied on 10 points. The Antigua and Barbuda Falcons and the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots have all been eliminated from playoff contention. So this week will determine the seedings for the playoff rounds. Of course, the teams will be looking to get either first or second to have multiple bites at getting into the finals. As it stands, is the St. Lucia Kings in the first position with 12 points. Well, that's where we'll come to the end of the DBS Evening Sports Report. Just a quick reminder that Dominica takes on Montserrat this evening in the ECCB that should be the 4th ECCB International Netball Competition taking place in St. Kitts. Of course, we are still awaiting the end results of the first matchup, or the game which was underway there between Anguilla and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Anguilla, they were in some real trouble, really in some bad trouble there in that matchup. St. Vincent had a very big lead at the end of the third quarter. So fingers crossed that Dominica bounces back with a victory after they lost to St. Vincent last night, and we'll bring you the details in the morning sportscast. So that's the news. Of course, you heard the news with Curtis Matthew. I brought you the sports on behalf of the entire news and sports department. Our links person, DJ Halo Boy, Gavin Richards saying good evening.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
DBS Radio gives you top quality service over any other for live streaming of funerals. Call us today at 448-3282.
Good evening, welcome to the evening edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 23rd day of September 2024. We begin with the evening edition of the death announcements on the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. We announce the death of Hanif Obi Gregoire, age 36, of Point Michel, who resided at Castle Comfort. He died on Thursday, the 15th of August, in Brooklyn, New York. He lives to mourn his father, Ambassador Felix Gregoire, his mother, Charmaine Gregoire, his brothers, Quinton and Wendell Gregoire, his fiancée, Joy Ann Ailey, sister-in-law, Lenicia Gregoire, his aunts, Clemencia and family, Lonita and family, Celia, Augustina and family, and Joan and family. His uncles, Kent and family, Lawrence, Tony, Kenneth and family, Claude and family, his godmother, Sharita Gregoire, his godchildren, Jelia, Lemar, Ellen, Naimar, and Colin, his cousins, Abia and family, Hassani and family, Herskel, Gianna, Jonelle, Germaine, Emerald, Nikelia and family, Editha and Joy Ann. Other relatives, the Peltier, Ailey and Daniel families, Pamela and family, the Delsol and Corette families, Sandra and family, the Toussaint family, and Bibi, the Gregoire, Blaise, Elie, Tavernier, Nicholas, Etienne, Gervier, Johnson and Simon families in Point Michel, Scott's Head, Soufriere, Galion and Grand Bay, and other relatives and friends in London. Close friends, Conrad and Ezra, Eva and Kelvin, Mara St. Rose and family, Davis and Patsy, Irma, Vanti, Jennifer, Blanche, Sean, Ricard, Rick, Clint, Cameron, Felix, or that should be Phyllis, the Castle Comfort and Dutch crew, PPG, Buttermix, Daryl Joyce, Dr. and Mrs. Vince Henderson, Russell, Delon, and Chelsea in Jamaica. You'll also be remembered by members of the Dutch United Football Club, the Point Michel Football Club, Harlem Sports Club, the National Junior and Senior Football teams, the Rotary Club, the Youth Parliament, the Roseau South Constituency Association, the Dominica Music Association, Land Surveyors Association, and staff of the Ministries of Housing and Public Works, Fathers Francis, Ignatius, Stan, Martin, and Monsignor John Lewis, the Holy Spirit Chapel congregation, as well as the Fatima Parish, the Cabinet and Public Service, in particular the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, the Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the Roseau South constituency, Denise Charles Pemberton, the communities of Point Michel, Scott's Head, Soufriere, Galion, Lubia, Newtown, and Castle Comfort. The funeral mass for the late Hanif Obi Gregoire, aged 36, of Point Michel, who resided at Castle Comfort, will be held on Friday, September 27th at 3 p.m. at the Point Michel Catholic Church, and will be followed by interment at the Point Michel Catholic Cemetery. We announce the death of Francisca Pohilomen de Ravarier, better known as Sister and Ma Jerome, age 84, of Grand Bay, or that should be Grand Coulibaly, Grand Bay. So let me take that again. We announce the death of Francisca Philomene de Ravarier, better known as Sister and Ma Jerome, age 84, of Grand Coulibaly, Grand Bay. She died on Monday, the 9th of September. She was the wife of Jerome de Ravarier. She was the mother of Shirley Alexander, Marianne Coffey, Christine Tavernier, Rosalind Xavier, and Judith Primer. She will also be remembered by her 21 grandchildren, 20 great-grandchildren, and 2 great-great-grandchildren. The funeral mass for the late Francisca Philomene de Ravarier, better known as Sister and Ma Jerome of Grand Coulibaly, Grand Bay, will take place at 2 p.m. on Friday, the 27th of September at the Grand Bay Catholic Church and will be followed by interment at the Grand Bay Catholic Cemetery. We announce the death of Isla Bladen Harry, better known as Ma Le, age 94, of Salisbury. She died on the 8th of September. She was the mother of 8 children: Helios, Mary, Irene, Linda, James, Eileen, Kenny, and Roy. She'll also be remembered by her 18 grandchildren: Lynn Theophile, Pattison, Fletcher, and Charles Harry, Sarah, Nyla, Kayode, and Akil Ducre, Candice Ducre, Williams, Jade, Yasmin, and Miles Harry, Mark and Jordan Joseph, Aliyah, Tyrell, Olivia, and Aaron Harry. 15 great-grandchildren: Kieran, Kevin, Mishak, Yanis, Renee, Creston, Jeremy, Haley, Skylar, Tiffany, Luis, Isla, Keenan, Kay, Tiana. 2 great-great-grandchildren: Luca and Kalia. Sons-in-law: Glenn Ducre, Kevin Naylor. Daughters-in-law: Vicky, Denise, Vanessa as well. A grandson-in-law: Kelvin Theophile, Ron Williams. A granddaughter-in-law: Ingrid, Tomisha, and Leah. Sister: Lydia Charles. Nieces: Nelista, Grinda. Nephew: Mando. Cousins: Patricia, Louis, and family. Tarzi and family. Friends: Utah Jones, Maina, Jennifer, Noelis, Margarita, Louisa, Wavel, Wilders, Nathany, Gilla, Bertil, Joanka, Eunice, Marina. The management and staff of Farks in Mont Daniel, Salisbury Catholic Prayer Group, the Harry family in Salisbury and the United Kingdom, and other names too numerous to mention. The body of the late Isla Bladen Harry, better known as Ma Le, can be viewed from, well, that should be on Friday, the 27th of September, from 2:30 p.m. at the Salisbury Catholic Church. The funeral service takes place at 3 p.m. and will be followed by interment at the Salisbury Catholic Cemetery. We announce the death of McCurdy Abraham Robin, better known as Kung Fu, age 77, of Marigot. He died on Saturday, the 21st of September at the Marigot Hospital. The funeral arrangements for the late McCurdy Abraham Robin, better known as Kung Fu of Marigot, will be given in a subsequent announcement. We announce the death of Bennett John Finn, better known as Tapper Brown or Mass Boy, age 80, of Castle Bruce. He died on the 20th of August at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. He was the father of Clotilda, Nicola, Samantha, Kenny, and Bernadette. He will also be remembered by his 6 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. His brothers, McDonald, Jacob, Dr. John Finn, and Lazarus John Finn. Sisters, Lucille Jacob Nixon, Julia Stanos, Merle St. Louis, Daphne Fontaine, and Bounty Luke and Maymar. Several nieces and nephews, to include Avril and Dorian Drago, Georgiana and Sherman. Cousins, Samuel Jacob, Teresa Alfred, Victor Prevost and family, Andrew Jacob, the Stevenson family, Magdalena Lockhart and family, Stefana Prevost and family, Edith Cornelius and family, Maxine John Finn, Simeon Wilshire and family. Sister-in-law Judith John Finn, brothers-in-law Marcellus St. Louis and Evan Fontaine. Other family and friends including Bernard Wilshire, Odile Valmont, Isaac Baptist, Lambert Louis, Hyacinth Thomas, Malcolm Abraham, Mantis and Rose John Finn, Astefan Austri, Corinne Austri and family, Venus John Hope, Dorothy John Lewis, the Good News team, Father Karam, Father Shaplis, Father Elvio, Father Terimo, and Monsignor William John Lewis, the Castle Bruce Health team, Seraphine, Donnell Graham, Innocent Graham, Jefferson Prevost, Jane Richards, Gregory Prevost, Florencia Scotland,